Alright, good day everyone. This video should be the beginning of a series. So we're going to go through the just concluded 2023 Waec questions, and we're going to try to solve it together. We go through the OBJ, even onto the essay and theory. So we're just going to solve that because I think it's a very good step to prepare for the forthcoming Waec examination. So we're going to go through the questions together. And this is the first question. It says evaluate correct to 3 decimal places. So you see that after the evaluate you have a comma there, meaning we should solve the question and then our answer will approximate to 3 decimal places. So we just have to use our calculator and simplify the numerator first, and whatever we get as our answer we'll simplify it by dividing by the denominator. So whatever we get will now start our approximation. So, and don't worry, you'll be given calculator in the Waec course, so you can use a calculator to do that. So if I do that with my calculator, I'm getting my answer as 0.03360. So I'm just writing out everything so we can approximate together. 1, 3, 4, 3. So this is what I have from the calculator. Now let's start approximating. Since we are asked to approximate to 3 decimal places, we start counting immediately after the decimal point. So immediately after the decimal point, the first number there is 0, that's the first decimal place, second decimal place, third decimal place. So 6 is the third decimal place. So I can even write my answer out as 0.03. Now I want to know if I will round up 6 or round it down. To know that, I have to check the next number after 6, which I'm approximating. It is 0. Since it's not to 5, 6 will be rounded down, meaning it will remain 6. So our answer is 0.036, which is option B. So that's how to simplify that problem very fast. Okay, let's move over to question number 2. It said there are 30 students in a class. 15 study woodwork and 13 study metalwork. 6 study neither of the two subjects. How many students study woodwork but not metalwork? So you see that this problem is a set problem, right? And you can also draw using your Venn diagram to simplify. But we don't necessarily need to draw any Venn diagram, but it's advisable because it makes you to have a better feel of what they're asking in the question. But we can just simplify this by writing out the data given. So when they say there are 30 students in a class, it means the total number of students is 30, and that should be the universal set, right? Because it's the set that contains all the possible elements. So number in the universal set is 30 students. 15 study woodwork, so let's represent woodwork as W. So 15 people study woodwork, or rather 15 students, and 13 study metalwork, so metalwork will be represented as M, as 13. Now 6 study neither of the two subjects, so that means if you add the number of people doing woodwork and metalwork, 6 people don't do any one at all, so that should be the union. So this is the union of woodwork, union metalwork. They are complements. That means the number of people that are neither doing woodwork nor metalwork. So that's just 6 students. The question now is, how many students study woodwork but not metalwork? That means we're looking for students that study woodwork only. In order for us to get this, since some students study woodwork and metalwork, you get the flow now. Since they're asking us how many students study woodwork but not metalwork, it means some students study both woodwork and metalwork. So those students should be W intersection M, woodwork and metalwork. Let's call it S number of students because we don't know. So if woodwork intersection metalwork is X, that means woodwork only would be the 15 that we are given, subtracted the number of people that are doing both woodwork and metalwork, which is X. Alright? And the same case for metalwork only. Since we have 13 students for metalwork, if we remove the number of students that do both woodwork there, it will be 13 minus X. So if we can bring out all these values, It's just as though we have finished solving the question already. So let's simplify further. Logically speaking, you should know that if we add the number of students that study woodwork only plus metalwork only plus woodwork union metalwork complement plus woodwork intersection metalwork, we should get the total number of people in that class, right? We add those that are doing only woodwork, add those doing only metalwork, add those doing none of the courses, because woodwork union metalwork complement means they are not doing any one, and then add those doing both woodwork and metalwork. We should get the total number of people in that class. So let's substitute with the values. Woodwork only, we have 15 minus x, so 15 minus x, plus metalwork only, we have 13 minus x, plus the complement of woodwork metalwork is 6, plus woodwork intersection metalwork is just x. That should give us the universal set, which is the total number of people in the class from the question is 30. So if we can just find x, the solution will be set. So let's collect like terms. We have 15, I'm collecting the numbers first, plus 13 plus 6. Now let's collect x minus x minus x plus x is equal to 30. 15 plus 3 plus 6, it should give 34. Minus x is minus 2x plus x should remain minus x equal to 30. So minus x should be equal to 30 minus 34. Minus x is equal to 30 minus 34 is minus 4. So if negative x is equal to negative 4, that means positive x is equal to positive 4. Now I've gotten the number of students that do both woodwork and metalwork. So if we're looking for W only, if we're looking for W only, which is this, we have it as 15 minus x. So if we now subtract that x, which is 4, we should get W only. So they just solve it somewhere here. So W only is 15 minus x, but we now have x as 4, so 15 minus 4 is woodwork only, which is what we're looking for, and that should give us 11 students. So the correct option there is option C. So this question is just a set question, which you can also draw the Venn diagram, right? So if you just simplify this easily, you should get the answer without making any mistake. So that's it for this question. Let's delve into the next one. Alright, let's move over to number 3. So number 3 says solve 2 raised to the power 5x divided by 2 raised to the power x equal to the 5th root of 2 raised to the power 10. Now this is indices / exponents, and just in case you don't know this already, I have a video on that, so I'm going to drop the link in the description below, so you can feel free to check the video. So we can just apply the laws of indices and quickly simplify this. First of all, the left hand side of the equation, we can use the division law, right? So 2 divided by that, from the division law we have that if we have a raised to the power x divided by a to the power y is ax minus y. So we just subtract the power. So we have 2 raised to the power 5x minus x now equal to. Now in this problem, we're going to apply the fractional index law, where we have a raised to the power x over y is the white root, the denominator will be the roots of a raised to the power x. So it's already in this form, we're going to have to bring it to this form in this question, so we can get the base 2 there. So that is the same thing as 2 raised to the power 10 over 5, right? The denominator is the roots, while the numerator is the power. So this is what we have. So it becomes very easy to simplify if you know the laws of indices. So if the bases are the same, so we can just cancel and then equate the powers and solve. So 2 and 2 are going to cancel. So basically we have 5x minus x equal to 10 over 5. 5x minus x is 4x equal to 10 over 5. 5 into itself is 1. 5 into 10 is 2. So we have 4x equal to 2. finally x is equal to 2 over 4, and then x is going to be equal to, if you divide through by 2, you have 1 over 2. So 1 over 2 is the final answer. So option C is the correct one. So just know the laws of indices. This becomes very easy for you to simplify. For number 4, we have solve 1 plus cube root of x minus 3 equal to 4. So I think this is also indices, so we can just apply the laws. However, let's collect like terms first. So we're going to move 1 to the other side. So this becomes the cube root of x minus 3 is equal to 4. That positive one crossing becomes negative 1. So this is, okay, let me just simplify this further. 4 minus 1 is 3. So we now have the cube root of x minus 3 equal to 3. Now, if we want to eliminate this cube root, if you cross the equality sign, it now becomes x minus 3 equal to 3 raised to the power 3. So this is just the normal thing we do. If you have a raised to the power 2 equal to, say, 4, a without the squared will now become the square root of 4. The same thing for cube root, for fourth root, for fifth root, it's still the same law. So have this at the back of your mind. So what do we have there now? We have x minus 3 equal to 3 raised to the power 3 is 3 times 3 times 3. Please don't make the mistake of doing 3 times 3 giving you 9. 3 raised to the power 3 means 3 multiplying itself 3 times. So that should give us 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So we have 27. Finally, x will be equal to, if I collect like terms, 27, negative 3 crossing becomes positive. And then x is equal to 27 plus 3 is 30. So easy. The answer is still C. So that's how to simplify these problems. It's very easy if you know what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to waste any time at all in any question. So let's continue. Okay, for question number 5, we are asked to express 413 base 7 in base 5. So we want to move from base 7 to base 5. So in order to do this, we need to first of all convert 413 base 7 to base 10, because it's easier for us to calculate in base 10, right? So that's the first step. So let's convert it to base 10. So we have 413 base 7. Now in order to do that, we just use the repeated multiplication method. Since we're dealing on base 7, we'll get the first number, which is 4, and multiply it by 7, which is the base. So if we do 4 times 7, we are supposed to get 4 times 7 is 28. So we're just going to add the next number, which is 1. 28 plus 1 is 29. So that's the first step. We start again. We have added this one, so we now have 29 times 7 again, which is the base. So if you do 29 times 7, you should get 203, if I'm correct. 203. Then we're going to add the next number, which is 3. 203 plus 3, that should give us 206 base 10. So we have converted the 413 base 7 to base 10. Now we can just divide by 5. So anytime you want to convert a number from base 10 to any base, just divide by the base. Since we're looking for the number in base 5, we'll divide 206 by 5. So let's solve this here. We have 206. We'll convert. Now I think that my line is so bad. Okay, so we're dividing by 5. Meanwhile, I also have a video on converting from base 2 to base 10. It's still the same method. If you know how to convert from base 2 to base 10 and base 10 to base 2, you can also convert other numbers from base 10 to the required base. So I'll also put the video in the description below. So let's divide. 5 cannot divide 2, so we take 20. 5 into 20 is 4. 5 into 6 is 1, remainder 1. You keep the remainder there. 5 into 40 is 8, remainder 1. 5 into 8 is 1, remainder 3. And then 5 into 1 is 0, remainder 1. As usual, we take our answer from bottom to top. So the final answer should be 1, 3, 1, 1, base 5. So this is the final answer. So let's go and check which one is the correct option there. So you see, if you read the answer from top, it should give you 1131 base 5, and you see that's the option A. Just for some people that are not careful enough. However, the correct answer is option B. So that's the answer, 1311 base 5. Convert first to base 10 and then back to base 5. Okay, for number 6, we have to solve log x to the base 3 plus log x minus 8 to the base 3 equal to 2. Now, since we have addition, we can use the addition law of logarithms, which says that if we have, say, log m to the base a plus log n to the base a, it should be equal to log m times n. So we can just apply the same thing here. So if we do that, we're now going to have log, we'll collect one of the base, which is base 3, and then multiply the numbers, and that should be equal to 2. So let's simplify further. We now have that log x times x is s squared, x times minus 8 is minus 8x to the base 3 is equal to 2. Now I want to find a way to get log 3 on the right hand side, so we can cancel log 3 on the left and log 3 on the right. So if you know the laws of logarithm, we can do that very easily. First of all, we need to know two laws, which is if we have log, say, m raised to the power n to the base a is equal to n times log m to the base a, right? So if you have a logarithm raised to a power, is equal to that power multiplying that logarithm, so n times log m to the base a. And then we need to know that if we have a logarithm of a number to the same base, say log m to the base m, is going to be equal to 1. So with these two laws, we can simplify that. So first of all, the first line of action is, let's just rewrite what we have on the left hand. That should be equal to, we can replace this with log 3 to the base 3, because log 3 to the base 3 is still 1, right? However, we can now, for these two here, we can represent it as raised to the power 2, because if we simplify this further, we will now have 2 log 3 to the base 3, and log 3 to the base 3 is 1, so we still have 2 times 1, which is still our 2. So I think it's a good idea to do it this way. So that's what we can do there and get the answer. So all you needed to know is just the laws of logarithm, and simplifying would be a very easy task. Alright, so finally we have what we have. Log 3 can cancel log 3 because they are the same on both sides of the equation. So finally we have that x raised to the power 2 minus 8x is equal to 3 raised to the power 2, there is 9. So if we cross 9 to the other side, it becomes a quadratic equation where we have x squared minus 8x. Positive 9 crossing the equality sign becomes negative 9, and everything will be equated to 0. Now we can solve this by factorization method, except it is not factorizable, but I believe this is very much factorizable. So we're looking for two factors of 9 such that if we add it, we get minus negative 8, and if we multiply, we have negative 9. So the factors of 9, I'll just list them out and then we can simplify. We have 1 times 9, we have 3 times 3, right? So we cannot add 3 and 3 and get 8, so basically we have just 1 and 9. So how are we going to do that? If we have plus 1 minus 9, I think that's going to work. So if we have plus 1 minus 9, it's going to give us negative 8, right? If you have 1 and you subtract 1, and also we have plus 1 times negative 9. Positive negative is negative, and we have 9. So the two factors we're looking for are positive 1 and negative 9. So we're going to replace that in the problem. So replacing, we have x squared minus 9x plus x. So we have replaced negative 8 with negative 9x plus x minus 9 is equal to 0. So let's factorize by grouping. We just collect these numbers in pairs. So the common factor there is x, so we just factorize. X into x squared is x into 9x is 9. The common factor here is just 1, so we have plus 1. You're still going to get x minus 9 equal to 0. So the two brackets are the same. We'll pick one. We have x minus 9, and we also have this x and this plus 1, x plus 1. So that should be equal to 0. So we have x minus 9 equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 9 crossing becomes positive 9. X is equal to 9, or we have x plus 1 equal to 0. X is equal to negative 1. So we have two values of x. However, we are going to stick with the positive value of x, which is 9. So x is equal to 9. And from the options, we have option D as the correct answer. So that's how to simplify this problem. Okay, now we have for the number 7, we have that Mr. Manu is 4 times as old as his son Adu. Now these names are quite funny, but we just continue. 7 years ago, the sum of their ages was 76 years. How old is Adu? Now Mr. Manu is 4 times as old as his son, so we can just say that let the son or son's age now be equal to x, since we don't know. But we know that if the son's age is x, Mr. Manu, which is the dad, should be 4 times the age of the son. That's 4 times x, which is 4x. Now 7 years ago, that means if we're talking about their ages 7 years ago, we need to subtract 7 from their ages. So 7 years ago, the son should be x minus 7, right? If you subtract 7 from how old he is now, that should be his age 7 years ago. That's for the son. And dad, which is Mr. Manu, should be 4x minus 7 years, right? So we said that 7 years ago, the sum of their ages was, so you see we're talking about the past tense. So 7 years ago, if you added their ages, that means if you added 4x minus, not plus now. If you added 4x, just a minute. So if you added 4x minus 7, which is the dad's age then 7 years ago, you add it to x minus 7, which is the son's age. You said that the son was 76 years old, so you have 76. How old is Adu? Remember that Adu's age is x years, right? So if we find x, automatically you have gotten Adu's age. So let's just solve for x. This will give us 4x plus x. I'm collecting like terms now. Minus 7 equal to 76. 4x plus x is 5x. Minus 7 is minus 14 equal to 76. 5s collecting like terms is equal to 76. Negative 14 crossing becomes positive 14. So 5x now should be 76 plus 14 should give me 90. So x dividing through by the coefficient, which is 5. 5 is going to cancel 5. X will be equal to 90 divided by 5. 90 divided by 5. 5 into 9 is 1 remainder 4 into 40 is 18. So Adu should be 18 years. technically speaking. So let's go to the options. 18 is option C, so the correct option there should be 18 years. So that's it for this question. Alright, for number 8, the question here is for us to factorize completely. We have x squared minus the sum of y plus z squared. Now, this can be easily done if you understand the difference of squares. So using the difference of squares, we can easily simplify. Now, what's the difference of square? When we have, say, a number raised to the power 2 minus another raised to the power 2. So why we call this difference of square, you see that this is a square, a squared, and this is b squared, and we are looking for their difference, that's minus. So from the formula difference of square, this will be equal to a plus b and a minus b. So this works anytime. So just to prove that for you, what if we wanted to find, let's say, 4 squared minus 2 squared? Now, okay, let me just solve it without difference of square. 4 squared is 16 minus 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 16 minus 4 is 12, right? So let's use the difference of square, see it's going to work. So this is going to be 4 plus 2 bracket 4 minus 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6, sorry, not 8, is 6. So 4 plus 2 is 6, times 4 minus 2 is 2. And you see that 6 times 2 is 12. So using the difference of squares, we can easily, simplify when we have 2 squares and we're looking for the difference. So basically it's the same thing here. We have x squared and y plus z squared. So using the difference of square, this is going to be easily, first of all, you take their sum and you take their difference. So this is going to be open a bracket of x plus y plus z, and then let's take the difference, x minus y minus z. So you see, simple, we don't even have to solve much. So this is the answer. And which one corresponds to that? We have option B, that's x plus y plus z, x minus y minus z. So correct option is option B. Very, very simple to solve. All you need to know is difference of squares. So if you understand the difference of squares, which is this, it becomes very easy for you to simplify this problem. So let's go over to the next one, which is question number 9. All right, so there we have question number 9. Question number 9 says that find the roots of the quadratic equation. So anytime you hear about roots simply means what is the answer you get after solving a particular question. So this is simply saying find the answer of the quadratic equation. So we are just supposed to simplify, and there are 3 methods of solving quadratic equation. You can factorize, you can complete the square, and we can use the quadratic formula. So but we'll try factorizing because it's the easiest method. So the coefficient of m squared there is 3, so we are going to multiply it by the constant term there. So if we do 65, this is negative 65 anyway, times 3. If you do that, our answer should be negative 195. So we are looking for the factors of 195 such that if we add, we have negative 2, which is the coefficient of m, and if we multiply, we have the constant term, which is 65. So like we solved previously in one of the questions, let me list some of the factors until we get the 2 factors that will give us negative 2 when we add them. So the first factor is always 1. 1 can divide everything. So if we have 1 times 195, however, we can never add the 2 to get negative 2. 2 can divide 195, so let's try 3. 3 divided by 195 should give us 65. So we have 3 and 65. However, we cannot add the 2 to get negative 2, so we keep going. 4 cannot divide, 4 is not a factor, we jump over to 5. 5 divided by 195 should give us that's 39. So 5 times 39 is 195. However, 5 plus 39 can never be 2. We jump over to the next factor. 6 can't divide, 7 can't, 8 can't, 9. The next number that can divide is 13. 13 divided by 195 is 15. So that's 13 times 15. Now I think this is going to work, because if you add, now we need to now put in the signs. How are we going to put the signs such that when they add, it will be -2? Alright, since the sign is negative, that means the bigger number there should be the negative value. So if you do -15 plus 13, you should have -2, right? And if you also do -15 times 13, you have -195. So the two factors we're looking for are -15 and +13. So we're going to replace 2 with the two factors we found now. So that's going to give you 3m raised to the power 2 minus, I'm putting my 15m there now, which are the two factors, plus 13m minus 65 is equal to 0, right? So let's factorize by grouping. This is 3m squared minus 15m, plus, open the bracket there, 13m minus 65, and that's equal to 0. The common term here is 3m, so let's factor out. 3m dividing 3m squared will be left with m minus 3m divided by m will cancel m. 3 into 15 is 5. Here the constant, or rather what we have in common, is 13. M is not common, so we take only 13. 13 into 13m, m will remain. Then 13 into 65. So sorry for that, one more time. So 13 into 65 is also 5. So we have 2 times common in both brackets, so we just pick one, m minus 5, and then we take 3m together with 13, so that's 3m plus 13. So now let's simplify. M minus 5 is equal to 0. That means m is equal to -5 crossing becomes +5, or 3m plus 13 is equal to 0. 3m is equal to +13 crossing becomes -13, just to make a little more room there. So now that means dividing through by the coefficient, which is 3, m is equal to -13 divided by 3. So finally we have the values of m as -13 divided by 3 and +5, right? So m is equal to these values. So we have -13 over 3 and 5. So which one corresponds to that in the options? We have -13 over 3 and +5. That should be option C. So this is how to simplify this problem. Alright, let's go to question number 10. So this is what we have in question number 10. It says that m varies jointly as the square of n and the square root of q. So this is a joint variation. And that says if m is equal to 24 when n is equal to 2 and q equal to 4. First of all, anytime you're solving a problem on variation, whether it's direct, indirect, or joint, the first thing you should find is the constant of proportionality. So that's what we're going to find first. So let's just simplify this in symbolic terms. We have that m varies jointly as the square. So m varies as the square of n, that's n raised to the power 2, and m again varies the square root of q. So this implies, if you write it together, m varies as n squared and square root of q. So this finally implies that m is equal to, now we introduce the constant of proportionality, which is the constant, which is k times n squared and the square root of q. So this is the formula you need. Then we can find k, and when we find k, it's easy to just simplify. This becomes very, very easy. So when m is 24, let's replace the value of m as 24 because we are looking for k. N is 2, so 2 squared times, let's put that in the bracket, times the square root of q, and q there is 4. So let's simplify. 24 equal to the constant times 2 raised to the power 2 is 4 times square root of 4 is 2. So this is k. 4 times 2 is 8. So we have that 24 is equal to 8k, right? So k now will be equal to, divided through by the coefficient of k, which is 8, and then k, the constant of proportionality, is 24 divided by 8 is 3. So we have our constant of proportionality as 3. Now let's simplify the question. Now looking for m. So what is m when n is 5 and q is 9? So this is the formula we need to continue solving. So remember that m is always equal to the constant of proportionality times n squared times the square root of q. So m will be equal to, what's the constant of proportionality now? We have it as 3. So m is equal to 3 into, n is now 5, so 5 raised to the power 2, and then the square root of q. Q is now 9. So m will be equal to 3 times 5 raised to the power 2 is 25. Square root of 9 is 3. So m is equal to 3 times 25 is 75, and 75 times 3 is 225. So the value of m is 225, and that corresponds with the option D.